we're one of the best kept secrets. So you as a young athlete training and you looking up to somebody who is using a sports psych but never talk about sports psychology.
Yeah, you think they just do it.
You just think, all right, everything I'm going through, life is hard, I'm struggling, but I just got to push through it, not knowing that they have somebody working with. So when they grow up, they have no idea that we exist. So when somebody like me approach them, they're like, what? Nah, that can't be right. Because that person don't talk about it. That person don't talk about it. So.
Welcome back to another episode of The Reason Being. And today we have Jamaica's very own, Team Jamaica, that psychologist, Mr. Nicholas Powell. Sorry.
I'm doing good. It's indeed a pleasure to be here. So.
The pleasure is all mine, honestly.
All right.
Yeah, because I tell you, like growing up, we never heard much about psychology. But when I went to the States, I kind of realized that there's a lot of psychologists, a lot of therapists that goes into the behind the scenes to make these athletes perform. Like it's not just like going out on the track and just running. It's more to that. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to understand how much of a role you play and how you develop yourself to develop the athletes.
Okay.
But first, I want to know your certification. On your Instagram, you have these letters, CMPC. What are those?
So, just to start out, and again, appreciate the opportunity. I'm a GC Foster trained coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that. So that's where I got introduced to psychology the first time. I went to Jamaica College, then went to St. Andrew Technical, started doing track and field at Stats, not at GC. I didn't feel like at GC. Went on to Stats, and then my mentor, my coach at the time, Victor Thomas, encouraged me to go to GC faster because that stand the opportunity of getting a scholarship. While at GC Foster, Mr. Hylett taught psychology and coaching.
Is he still?
No, he's not there, but he was very instrumental because I like that thing here. Like, the understanding people's mind and motivation, because you're too young, but back in my day, it was maths, English, and mental ability for common entrance.
Really?
Yes, sir. Common entrance. So I graduated from high school, from primary school, 88. Exactly. Right? So mental ability was something I was very good at, analytical skills and all that. So when I met psychology, I say, we are the next level, And I say, and I just love the way understanding the mental side of things, how to help people. So after graduating from GC Foster, I went on to teach 1 year at Olmaz. I was Stephen Francis assistant.
Oh wow!
A year.
So you just meshing greatness from
like the universe just conspire for my success.
Oh, nice!
Right?
I like that.
You ever read The Alchemist?
No, but we hear about it.
Check it out.
All right.
But the universe has conspired for my success, where I have been blessed to be in connection with a lot of people who are great, amazing people doing what they do. So when I went on to college, 99, I got the scholarship to the US and started doing physical education. But my last year, I decided I want to teach American kids.
Really?
Because the law don't protect teachers. Right? And being a teacher here in Jamaica, I understand the difference. So I never want to teach it. So I switched my mind to major to psychology. Graduated with degree in psychology and physical education, and went on back to coach with my mentor and former coach at Lincoln University. So I coached at the university level, and while we were there, I realized there were athletes who competed well during the season, but didn't quite get where they wanted to be when it came to major championships. Still winning, but just not at the level they were projected, and I realized it was a lack of physical training. It wasn't a lack of proper preparation, fitness, or it was more mental. So I'm start implement some of those things, those that I learned throughout the years, and realized that I saw growth, some improvement, and then went back to school and got my master's in kinesiology, sports and exercise behavior from SIU Edwardsville, and my last year, while working on it, I met an athlete I was working with some athlete, but I met an athlete in the airport, and we worked so well that that athlete went on to perform exceptionally well.
Nice.
The next year, I started my business like the MindGame, because it's mentally simplifying the game. Right?
I like the name. No, I like.
Yes.
I like
so that is how we get into sports psychology full time, and just start going to hearing about this, and I started before I even know what fully sports psychology consultants did, and from there just start building. And then the CMPC you asked me about is the Association for Applied Sports Psychology. Is a governing body in the US.
Do you have to renew that?
Yes, so every 6 years. So you have to go through a certification process. There are these requirements, these courses you have to take that align to show that you're not just somebody who have an idea and feel like you can motivate and just talk. And then you have to go through mentorship from a certified sports psychology consultant, which I am now a certified mentor, where I can provide that support for. Where I can provide support for people who want to become CMPC.
So are those available in Jamaica, or just you have to go overseas to do those?
No, it's available in Jamaica also. So I can mentor somebody from a distance, right? And we also have, and don't let me lie, Olivia Rose, Dr. Olivia Rose. I'm not sure if she's CMPC, but she's also a sports psychologist here in Jamaica. Amazing sports psych. But that's how I got into it. I got my certification and been doing it since 2010 officially.
Oh, that's nice.
That's when I started the business, and it's going well.
I mean, 2011, 2012, all up until 2017, I'd say were like, our great years in track and field. I mean, so you feel like you played a part in the success of our athletes. Well, do you only work with track and field, or you work with like football or other sports?
So I've worked with a lot of sports. Mostly in Jamaica, I've worked with track and field athletes, and I've had the pleasure of working with both the reggae boys and the reggae girls at a period in time. Have a really good connection with the reggae girls.
Yeah, what's the difference like between the reggae boys and the reggae girls?
When you say difference, what
in terms of their mental preparation?
The administration, the coaching staff for both teams received me well, right? So and when the coaching staff receive you and show that acceptance, the athletes tend to gravitate. So when you have an administration that support it, you're gonna see more open. When we talk, it's just pretty much, most of the time it's not about skill. It's about how to let go of whatever else is going on. And I have, because of my athletic background and my coaching background, I feel like a niche, unique space to connect with athletes and coaches, build that.
You're not just from the outside, you're from the inside.
So lucky for me, whenever we had those opportunities, I was able to mesh and blend in pretty good. So
another thing is I wanted to ask you, so do you think that because most of our reggae boys, some of them are, well, let's say most of them are overseas based, do you think they're open to the idea of psychologists versus the locally grown athletes?
I'm not gonna say they get exposure to it more, so they see it. So a lot of time, especially, and just to add, just because athletes have access to the mental coaching, doesn't mean a lot of them utilize it. Right? Especially when it's put in place by the organization.
Why?
because there's an assumption that even though what we do is confidential, there's an assumption that if I share something with you as a mental coach, there's a possibility that word might get back to the deciding people.
So what happens if it does get back?
Most of the time, it does not get back from the mental coach.
Okay.
Right? But if you share it with one of your friends and share it with the mental coach and the administration hear back, automatically you may assume. Right? Because we have a confidentiality clause where we want to provide a safe space. So even when a client hire me, one of the things that I share with them is, even if the parent is hiring me, I'm like, listen, conversation is going to be between me and the client. If there's something between the parent and my direct client, then I'm coaching the client how to deal with it with the parent. So that we, because I want to provide a safe spot where you can come and cuss out your mom or your coach or the administration and feel like
you're heard.
You can say what you want to say. Sometimes you mean nothing, you just want to get it off. But you can't say it to them the way, and then we might sit down and figure out ways how to communicate that message. So that way you can get what you want, because if you're that frustrated with the administration, you can't really focus on performing. And our job is to make sure that you're present to perform at your best, no matter what sport it is.
So you mentioned that the overseas athletes are more exposed to it, but like, let's go a little bit into like track and field. How do you incorporate the high schoolers? Are they able to get access to psychologists?
So when Puma contracted with me in 2022.
Congratulations on
that.
Were you the first person to get that?
Yes. So when they contracted with me, they gave me the opportunity to go into the high schools that were Puma sponsored high schools.
That's basically all of them. Well,
not all of them. At the time, it was 9 programs.
Really? Does it feel like so much more?
It's 9 programs. So you have
KC,
the top 3s, and then you have the Wolmer's boys and girls.
San Diego.
Then you have the Jago boys and girls. No, Stets.
Stets is Puma?
At the time it was. I don't know if it has changed since.
Yeah.
So they gave me the opportunity to go in and do a presentation to them. And then also the Carifta Games. It was, don't let me lie, I think it was during the pandemic. But they gave me the opportunity to speak with the athletes as they were preparing. But other than that, I don't get a lot of access to the juniors, which would be an amazing opportunity, because that's where we need to get
the exposure
to the mental. The thing is, there are so many athletes. Do you know that Grand Slam have a sports psychologist on the team?
Didn't know that.
So they brought a sports psych that is at the stadium.
Really?
Available for the athletes should they need it. And I spoke to him right before I came here. Right? Like, just talk to him like, hey, how things, like, what's your plan? He's like, I'm going to the stadium. I'm like, okay, cool. So you have people coming to you? He's like, no. But they know that I'm here. So they know that he's here. A lot of the athletes who perform at the elite level have sports cycle. Like, I have several clients compete. But we're one of the best kept secret. So you as a young athlete training, and you looking up to somebody who is using a sports psych but never talk about sports psychology.
You think they just do it.
You just think, all right, everything I'm going through, life is hard, I'm struggling, but I just gotta push through it, not knowing that they have somebody working with. So when they grow, they have no idea that we exist. So when somebody like me approach them, they're like, what? Nah, that can't be right, because that person don't talk about it. That person don't talk about it. So my job is to help educate. Our job as sports psych consultant, you may hear different terms: mental coaches, sports psychologists. I don't have the psychologist attached to it because I don't have my doctorate yet.
Okay.
Working on it. Yeah, working on it. But as a sports psych consultant, our job is to educate people, athletes and coaches on it, right? So one of the things I'm working is going into organizations and educating coaches and teaching them tools to use with the athletes to help them to tap into the mental side, because I'm not able to be there every day.
But you don't think that might affect how the coaches interact with the athletes if they're more focused on, developing the athlete from a mental standpoint to a physical? Because like for me for example, I'm hard-headed. So I learn from like rough coaching, you know what I mean? I'm not like a easygoing guy, I don't think I receive information well if it's like, just take a day off, That's
no, that's not what we do.
Okay,
so me talk like this level, low, calm or whatever, right? But I still can provide you with the vital information when I fully understand what drives you. I don't have to shove that in.
Yeah. Okay.
If I know you're trying to make the money, right, you're trying to get an opportunity. You have to come and say, yo, go over this and go check the money over there. So I say, yo, brother, remember say such over there. Yeah. He say, yeah. It has changed the psychology. So you may think the rough coaching is what gets you there. Yeah. But most of the time it's not necessarily rough coaching, it's the rough coach understand what drives you. So even though they must shout, he might have said the right things to you compared to somebody else. Yeah. Because me grew up with a rough coach. Yeah. My coach are the type of person who used to throw cheers and and puff people chest back in the day, because that was it. But his messaging was always uplifting and positive, even when I'm upset. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I learned from that and realized we don't have to always use the approach, but we still can get athletes from the garrison, because garrison I come from. Same. Right? Same. Grew up down at Black Roses Corner. Ooh. Alright. Down at jungle, right? Yeah. So grow up through that, got through the struggles, go at stats, writing at the altar, everything. Yeah. And still able to stay focused. That's why if you pay attention to a lot of my posts, I always talk about stay focused. Yeah. That's the drive, no matter what we are going through. How do we get our athletes? How do we get individuals to stay focused on the task?
Even before you can get them to stay focused, how do you get them as clients? Like, how do you approach them?
A lot of it is word of mouth, and a lot of it is just me sliding up people DMs. You know, so sliding up somebody DM and just encourage them. Yeah. One young lady, even though she's not a client, is a GC Foster student, a farmer student, right? So one of the terms we use is grubbies and grubs, right? So constantly I call her grubbies, even though it's a big one, right? But every time I always send her positive messages, positive message. So one day she see me, and she said, "Why you always trouble me?" You know, I will build a conversation and just. I must say, what was it that got your attention? She said, at first she think me that disrespect her, but when she look at the messages, it's always encouraging, positive. And she said, okay, I just Jamaican that we give people nicknames, right? Yeah. But it mean more well, but open to listen to this person. Because before people hear what you have to say, they want to know that you care. True. So my job is always to build a relationship with people. It's not always for sell people for my services. Yeah. Right? It would be nice, but everybody don't mesh. True. Right? So a personality, somebody may need somebody to yell at them. Yeah. I'm not that person. Okay. Right? Okay. So it's not that it's wrong. Yeah. It's just identifying which system, which approach work. And then find about if your approach is not necessarily there, how can I still provide support for you so you can get, because one thing we know about people, people do things for selfish reasons.
Yes, everyone. No matter how we say we know.
And when we hear selfish, we think it's something negative. No.
True. But the same context with psychology. We think something negative.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we change the narrative of that?
And that's what we're doing with coaches. That's what we're doing with the professional athletes, to encourage them to talk more about it, right? And because what we do as sports side consultants is not only when something is going wrong.
Yeah.
That's less than 25% of the athletes who work with. Our job is to help athletes with communication, building synergy among your team, organizing a team.
Yeah.
Right? How do we pick the ideal people to make sure that I have the right support system around me?
Yeah.
That when I'm out there competing, I can lock in and focus, and not have to worry about where my spikes is, or is my water bill being paid. No, I have a team around me to help me focus on that. Right? So the less stress on athletes is from the environmental, surrounding environment, is the more they're able to focus on the stressors that will help them to perform to the next level. So it's not to eliminate stress.
Yeah, just to help.
Use it to guide us to where we want.
Yeah, but you mentioned earlier that you are from the you were from the Garrison, but majority of track and field athletes, they're from the Garrison.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But they're also in a position where they might not be able to afford psychologists. You know what I mean? So how do they, kind of go around? Is it like how do they go around getting it?
And that's a good question. One of the things that I'm doing here this weekend is connecting with a lot more agents and coaches to do package deals.
Nice.
Right? Instead of going to individual athletes, because a lot of the athletes, when I started out, I used to sell t-shirts.
MindGame?
Yeah, MindGame t-shirts to get the money so I can be. I've been to almost all the major championships at the senior level since 2011.
Yeah, tour, man.
Out of my pocket.
Tour.
You understand? Luckily, I've been blessed to get support from like Puma.
Yeah, and so on.
No, Puma. To help me to do that. Unfortunately, we haven't got that opportunity yet, but I'm always there.
Yeah.
And there are times when, even though they didn't give me the go ahead to have access when I'm there, and if an athlete need me, I'm not gonna say, because when I go to championships, I'm not marketing my business. I'm not there to hey, I'll take care of you for this money, right?
Yeah.
It's no. If you need my support, I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? Even though my other clients pay for me, sponsor me to get here. Most of the time I might want it.
Yeah. But it's just brand Jamaica.
Is it no, not just Jamaica.
Hold on, so you have clients outside of Jamaica?
Yes.
Okay.
If I did just for clients in my Jamaica money.
True.
I have clients all over the world.
True.
World record holders, but nobody not promote it.
So, alright, but even with the confidentiality thing, you think that's kind of like a breach if they promote it? Or you just...
No, they can promote it.
Yes, but you can't.
But me can't really promote it unless them come out and say.
So you can't post a picture?
I post pictures all the time, but I post pictures of everybody.
Okay, alright.
Yeah, that's so whether it's my client or not, if it's an athlete performing well, I'm going to sit them and go with a thing, I'm going to post and promote them, and I'm going to put stay focus on it, and just encouragement.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so that way, because I'm going to just post my clients and people are going to be like,
True.
okay, and then may I breach, and without the client saying, may I work with him. So I'm going to post clients, athletes all over the world.
So you're able to work with not just Puma athletes?
I work with everybody.
But you just represent Puma when it comes out to Jamaica. Like, how does that work?
So that contract allowed me to have access to Puma clients at a discounted rate.
Oh.
Right? But it's almost like Puma was one of my clients. And it allowed me to work with their client, a lot of their athletes. But I also had Nike athletes, Adidas athletes. I do executive coaching, so I go into organizations. I go into track clubs and do team building activities and provide support. So that access on the agreement was with me working with the athletes, also provide for the junior athletes and going and speaking.
So you don't think that you're almost stretching yourself too thin, trying to cover all these grounds, not just locally but internationally by yourself? Because you're trying to accomplish, which I'm not gonna lie, it's needed, you know what I mean? It's needed, but like covering the professional athletes, the junior athletes, international, and then your client, your sponsored clients. That's a lot. That's almost 5 fingers.
It can be a lot. Yeah. But I'm doing it full time.
Okay. So this is
and life. This is not a 40-hour a week job. I can imagine. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm flexible along. Yeah. For the most part, and if it's to the point where I know have a bigger team, then I'm doing referrals.
Nice.
So we're not keeping the money just to ourselves. We have people who, if I need to do team workshop and it's a big enough team, I have other certified consultant I can pull to. Or if, for example, come back to what we talked about, if I meet an athlete who our personality don't mesh.
You know what's funny about that? Say a lot of people in higher positions, like I've spoken to coaches and agents and whatnot, and I've noticed a common theme in that, like it has to do a lot to do with mission.
Synergy, yeah.
No, for real.
Synergy.
For real.
That's how you get to flow state.
When you talk about that, because I recently learned about that.
Alright.
That tell him.
Yeah.
Flow state, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
you get to flow, in order for you to get flow state, everything have to align. Not mean everything will go right, you know.
Yeah.
It's just mindset, everything align for you, and now you're locked in. And regardless of what's going on, I have the mental flexibility, not mental toughness. Yeah. Because when we say mental toughness, people associate it with rigid and nothing goes wrong and you don't feel emotions. That's not what it is. It's when I feel these emotions, how do I bounce back as quickly as possible? Because if I tell you if you associate mental toughness with not crying and all of that, then when you feel those emotions, how you deal with it?
You're just gonna bottle it up.
And if you bottle it up, you can't concentrate.
True.
And then you're not going to get the performance, and that's how because your body is more stressed, and that lead to injury.
Hold on, what? Say, hold on, wait. Say, you're saying, hold on. Wait, no, hold on.
It's a mind game, Reggie.
Serious? Genuinely? Like, if you're too stressed, you can get...
If you're too stressed, yeah.
So, not only is it like your mind not at ease, your body...
Right.
Never think about that still.
Yeah, most of the time when people stress, think about it. What event you used to do?
400.
400. My race time. Right? Think about it. You are stressed. And now coach come give you a workout. Yeah. That is disrespectful, painful.
Yeah, they're all that.
Exactly, right? So the next level, right? And your body's stressed and your mental is stressed. You can't focus. Now you're there forcing. Yeah. Especially if you're not perform the way you want to perform. Yeah. You force it. And when we force it, we compromise form and technique, which lead to injury.
I never think about it still. I was just thinking more along the lines that I was like just overthinking. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I saw like the last part of my career, I literally knew that I was like thinking about too many things. I never thought it was like a stress thing. You know what I mean? You get what I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
you become overwhelmed. And you can't even concentrate when you're going
you can't concentrate. You're just so focused on like trying to do what you do so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And worse when people get the contract.
Certain contract, done. I mean, afraid.
Exactly, because when you get the contract, most of the time, I talked to an athlete yesterday. Most of the time, when them get the contract, the goal is to get a contract. So even when we work with athletes, we help them set goals, right? Most of the goals we want to set don't make no sense.
Yeah, man, very realistic.
More run fast, okay? Everybody want to run fast.
True.
All right, you run 10-3, now you run 10-25. You run faster. But 10-25 not doing nothing.
Nothing.
So now you're stressed, but you run faster.
Yeah.
So we set goals that's challenging. So we help people to set next level goals, and then now we're chasing the goal, right? So we reverse engineer that, and we're now chasing the goal to get to where we need to get to.
Yeah.
Some people are, like you said, you know, the goal is to get the contract.
Yeah.
You get the contract, you chill for the first year. You have the stipulations or nothing like that. So we just have to go and chill and go on do my thing. But then you don't run as fast as you want, and then the next year you put pressure upon yourself, and now I have to come on and keep the contract.
Yeah, need those bonuses.
So people are compete not to lose. They are compete not to lose instead of compete to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how can we help them now lock in and focus on competing to achieve your goals? Because it's easier for run down the hill at full speed than for try for hold yourself back.
Yeah, true.
Coming down the hill.
True.
Right? Because I'm more pressure that by your legs and all of that. So how do we get them to flow? Right? By chasing, recreating that hunger they had before the contract. Now that you get a contract. So once we set that goal, how do we set the bigger goal so you can continue that momentum of chasing? The contract only allows you the flexibility and the freedom to now challenge yourself to the next level.
Yeah. But like I used the word challenge because the last coach I had, he took the word hard out of my life.
Took the word hard?
Yeah, because he used to say like, nothing is hard, it's just challenging. And it's something that I say to this day, like, nothing is impossible, it's just challenging.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people, like myself, at least back then, like, we approach things full on. Like, let's say you're doing like schoolwork or something. You look at the entire day and say, boy, a whole heap this, you know. But if you just take a look at time and start, you realize it's manageable.
How do you eat an elephant?
Well, I don't know.
One bite at a time.
That's nice. That's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you see it as an elephant and I try to eat the whole elephant, it will seem impossible.
Yeah.
But I just take one bite at a time and understand the bigger the goal, and the more time I have to give myself, more time I have to give myself to achieve it. Right? It's not that it's impossible, it's just gonna take me a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And a little bit more commitment. And one of the things we work with the athlete, does the level of effort you're putting in right now align with the goals you have set for yourself?
So let's talk about effort.
Okay.
How much effort do you think it takes to be mentally locked in? Like, actually, what do you consider to be locked in?
For everybody, it's different.
Okay.
But it's a point where I'm so focused on what I need to do and I'm confident in what I need to do.
What do you think being locked in can cause overstimulation to lead you to underperform? Like, you're just so focused on this race that you just lose sight of what makes this race possible. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to go and finish like 400. I mean, give you an example, myself. Okay. My last year, I did check out, I'm mentally checked out. But it's because I was so focused on like running the race that I forget everything about the race.
What were some of the things you forgot about the race?
I forgot how to like run freely. I was trying to like, not try to race instead of compete. Like, I was like, all right, if you get out there, like, I say, all right, listen to your gun. But you know, the gun is like a reaction thing. So I just say, yo, you're going to hear it go. You're going to hear, set, go, then we move. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, if you listen to your gun, get to 50 meter, 30 meter, 100 meter, you must like relax. But instead of relaxing, I like slow down. You know what I mean?
Because the problem in that situation, that specific situation, if you have not been practicing, so visualization, right? When we teach visualization, when I teach visualization with my client, some of the time it takes 30 minutes to visualize a 1 minute race at the beginning.
Right.
Because they're thinking about all the stuff, right? And when we're thinking about the stuff at that amateur level, even though you're professional, for the first time, your mind is paying attention to all these little things,
yeah.
right? So, but over time, that's why we don't wait till the day before competition. We work on it, because we not do block start the day before competition.
No.
We do it leading up so you can build confidence into it. In time, with a lot of practice, so beginning of training all the way to competition, they will visualize. So by the time them get to that point, they can visualize a 60-second race in 60 seconds.
Oh wow! So you feel like, okay, how often? Well, how attainably do you think that is for an athlete to do?
It's possible. Almost all of them athletes.
Really?
Yeah. That's why we do it from the early.
So what do you consider early? Like as soon as the season starts, like training?
When do you start using your brain in practice?
That's fun. Before you even get up in that morning.
Exactly. So my ideal situation with my clients is let's sit down before you start the season. Because we start from this a goal setting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The mind game is an acronym. So the M stands for motivation. Once we have established our goals and our purpose behind our goals, M stands for motivation. Why is this important?
Yeah.
I stand for being intentional. N stands to being a nerd to your craft. So once I have figured out what do I need to do now, I need to study my craft.
Yeah.
Most of the time people don't study their craft.
Real.
They're just thinking about up more and faster. So they may even start sacrificing drills.
Yes. Yes.
Come on, Herb, I'm gonna do that workout here.
Yeah, true.
And then the D stand for determination. So once I have, because I can do everything perfect.
Yeah.
I still don't achieve my goal. What keeps me going?
Determination.
Yo, we do it. All right. We have an athlete where 1 year make it to the semifinals. I want to say, what could you have done different?
Yeah.
I said, honestly, couldn't do nothing different. I did everything perfect.
Yeah.
I just have to go back to the drawing board.
Really?
Right? I do everything to the T.
Yeah.
In other race.
Yeah.
I was ready. I was locked in. I executed. I PR'd. I just didn't make it to the finals of the World Championship.
Yeah.
And for me, she was like, and for me, that's success.
Yeah, I see that.
Because when we walk off, I had no regrets.
Yeah.
And that's what we want the athlete to be like, yo, I'm going to go out there and give everything. Now I have to go back to the drawing board and see where I need to improve. But it wasn't because I slack off.
So what about the athletes that don't accept that?
Then we look at it, and because there are a lot of them don't accept it.
Like I feel like that's the most common way to go about it. You know what I mean? Like you train so hard, you feel as if you don't accomplish or get what you're supposed to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel it.
Yeah.
Like how do you get them to get out of that mindset? Because when you start losing, you feel like losing is forever. You know what I mean? So how do you get them to not, think about this one bad race?
That are through different activities to give them and the.
What's like an example that you commonly practice?
Journaling. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is pen and paper so important in life?
That's amazing. There's a psychological connection within the brain that when you actually physically write something, there's a connection. With your phone and the computer, it's stuff you're always doing on it, right? But when you physically write it and putting the words together, there's a connection.
Yeah.
Because not only you're forming the letters and all of that as you're writing, those thoughts are connecting. So when you read that back.
So do you think they should is there a self-reflection at the end of the season for you and the athlete?
Yeah, so we have the goals in your journal. We go through this training session. We have activities we do in the journals, different things I may have them do. And then after each competition, going into each competition, we have things we work on. Yeah. And then after each competition, we have reflection. As a matter of fact,
each competition?
Yeah.
Really? Each competition? Not
each race. Yeah.
Each race?
Yeah.
So, all right, so hold on. So even, let's look at trials.
Yeah. Did you evaluate your race?
Yeah, me evaluate race, but go to a psychologist about race.
Not necessarily come to me, but we'll provide the sessions. Because we have this, them know what they need for think about.
And
some athletes actually come to me after each competition.
Do you find that as a good thing? Like, because okay, let me give you my point of view. I feel like nobody can tell you about my race other than myself and my coach. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know how I feel about that one day.
I can't tell you about your race. If I understand the mindset you did when you executed that race.
So what are you looking for in your clients when they're competing? Like, what do you look at to know like the type of mindset that they're in?
So we can pay attention to when you get to know your athletes, and that's one of the things we teach coaches. When they know their athlete, they can tell if they're nervous, right? Because and sometimes athletes are locked in, and coaches are nervous, and may say something that may cause the athlete to now become nervous, right? Which high school did you study?
Kingston College.
Okay, cool. So imagine which school is it, sir?
One college. One college.
No, one college is Color Blue.
No.
You never hear that in your school. But anyway, we're not going to go into that. We're not going to go into that. Something about congratulations, one chance, right? So imagine you are getting ready to compete. You focus. You have a little bit of anxiety, nervousness, because it's called arousal, right? Arousal, but based on where you are, how you calculate the task ahead, determine if that arousal leads to anxiety, which is negative, tend to be associated with negative, or excitement.
Okay.
Right? So if you locked in and you feel a little anxiousness, and the excited coach will say, yo, you have to beat that boy there run fast, and you have to go get out and that show you, because now that can raise your arousal level, and it can. There's a thing in sports psychology that talk about the inverted U.
What is that?
Right, where as arousal increase, performance increase, but only to a point. After that, it goes down. Right. So if we get our athlete aroused too quickly, too high.
So all right, how do you manage, like, let's say, we know what you're saying about he is very, you know what I mean, Mavit, but like with these younger kids, they're the same, but I feel like because they get like these attention, these NILs or whatnot so early, them feel like cocky. Let's use the word cocky.
Okay.
Yes. How do you tell the difference between cocky and confidence on that,
It's a thin line. Right? Cocky, like use the word arrogant. Right? Arrogance comes from a place of I'm talented, I don't need to do the work because we're already faster than everybody. Confidence comes from a place of I'm faster than them because of the work we do. So them don't associate it with talent. Them associate it with them work ethic. So if we can develop the work ethic, then go be cocky in the terms of confidence. Or not arrogant.
So do you think not being cocky or arrogant plays negatively in your performance? Like,
no, everybody is different.
Everyone's different.
Everybody is different. Some people, and that's why we can't have a cookie cutter approach. Because you might be a person. So one of my college roommates, unfortunately, went to your school, right?
Sir.
Barnaby back in the day. Marlon Barnaby. I don't know if you hear about him. But Barnaby was an amazing sprinters back in the early late 90s, 2000s. 90s for KC. And then went to Mackenzie with me. When he got to a track meet, he's the calmest person you see. But then him exploded out of the blocks.
He's a tiger.
Him calm, right? And then some people you have excited, bold type energy, loud, the attention and all of them things, and still dominate. So we can't use a cookie cutter approach and say this person, because you have this personality, you can't be explosive or whatever, right? So it's just, as coaches, knowing how to tap into that to make sure that it don't matter what your personality, when you show up to compete, you're locked in.
So can you tell me about you? I know you said that this is not a 40-hour work week type of job, but like, how do you maintain some level of sanity? Because athletes, high performing athletes, in them head, out of them head, they are just, I don't know, them kind of, we see the world differently. We live on a high, honestly. So how do you mellow yourself out?
So I stay at home and chill a lot, right? The party thing and my thing anymore. Study a lot.
Really?
Yeah, study the craft, study athletes, have conversation with coaches, other sports psychologists, just to make sure that I stay up on my game. I have a therapist, so make sure we talk to them. Yeah, we have to unpack, right? We're human too,
True.
Right?
True.
Just like, so a lot of people in the mere sports psychology, they want to think about the athletes. No, the coach is awesome. The physical therapist. So even when we meet with some of my professional athletes, we'll have a whole group session. Everybody, the marketing manager, everybody and who is in their team, because masseuse, the physio, everybody, because we want to make sure that we move as one unit.
The synergy you're talking about, wow.
Right?
I never thought of that.
And those people perform at the best.
Wow.
At the highest.
Wow.
Right? Because everybody know. Say when you work with a massage therapist. The massage therapist has said the same things as the chef. Or them in a line. So you hear the message in your subconscious just from different voices. I don't know if you ever watched the show with Will Smith called Focus.
No, I don't know.
Alright, so
you need to give me some recommendations.
Yeah, man. So that what in a Focus, them a try get them for a guy for pick a number. And from the games, from the guy arrive at the airport, he must see the number subconsciously around him. Everywhere he must see the number all over. So when a time to think of it, he just automatically think of it. And I wonder how much think of it, and then bet him a big pile of money. So then can tell him who him gonna pick. So him see the guy face where him gonna pick, and him see the number, even the music when them are playing on the elevator. I repeat the number 555 in the guy language. So it's just, how do we work with our athletes and create that everybody is on
state, like
with what them are trying to achieve. It's a mind game.
Branding.
Right.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So what, as I say, I have a therapist to help me lock in, and then me studies, and then me also one of the things me I work on is learning chess. Right? So me I learn chess stuff. Just to tap in with my mindset and make sure that I'm locked in. And focus power.
So let's start. Alright. Subconscious versus conscious mind.
Okay.
Let's kind of go into that, because I've learned over the years, at least the past 2 years, that the subconscious mind is more important than the conscious mind.
Okay.
Are you of the same belief?
I think both of them is understanding both of them.
Okay. So how do you approach those two?
What you mean?
In the sense of, okay, so what I understood about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is what? It's like setting the goal. You want to achieve this thing. So you, in the back of your mind, even when you're practicing, this is what you're trying to achieve. And the conscious mind is just like the day to day.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm saying, like, how do you kind of like get those two to not, fall off? Because at some point, we're gonna get hurt. You know what I mean? So you might feel a little down or whatnot. You might feel as if these goals are unattainable.
That is where the M comes in, the motivation as to why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why it's important for us to write it down, because when we're in an emotional state, whether it's angry, sad, depressed, happy, our brain almost shrink that we can't fully concentrate. We just focus on that moment.
Yeah.
So you never make a life-changing decision while in an emotional state.
Sir, that one going on.
It's hard. That's why you surround yourself with people now to help you think consciously, people that you can trust.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
So that is why a guy like me come when you don't perform the way you want to perform. Yeah, so yo, this is enough for me, you know. Because of the relationship and the connection that we have, we can remind you of things that were going positive and why you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And how do we reverse engineer it so we go there. It's like you drive from here, go downtown. Because you have a roadmap of how to get there, even when you get derailed, we're able to find a way back on track. But if you don't have a map of where you're trying to go, but just want to run fast, and we not have a roadmap to what fast is and how when we are developed, it's easy to get discouraged because it's not about feeling. A lot of people think motivation have nothing to do with feeling. I not feel motivated, really? Motivated is not a feeling.
So what is motivated?
It comes from the word motive. What does the word motive stand for? You're an educated guy. Sorry, KC, but like for real, like motive is reason. What is your motive for? What is your reason for? What is your why? So it come back to my why. And if you don't have a solid enough why, it's gonna easy if you quit. It's gonna easy when things don't go the way.
You want it to go.
Perfect example, when you're at college and things don't go the way more wanted for God. I feel one of my class then, American history. Before 1960 something, whatever, or 1860, 85, one of them then. But I feel the class, and Stacey Bowman coach, me a certified coach from GC Foster, and the workout when I get me a feel say the coach know what I'm doing. I'm call my former coach at the time was Frana. I said, Frana, I come on me yard now. Because my brother know him have been at Spikes in September. We know from yard.
That don't make no sense.
That don't make no sense. Them time that we never have texts and them thing that we had instant messenger upon Yahoo or whatever. I'm a link Frana say, yo, Nick, why are you there? I say, yo, but they have to get an education so we can get the piece of paper, help my people them out of the garrison. But the coach and them ask me again, why are you? I slowly think about it. Get the piece of paper so we can get a decent job and help my people them out of the garrison. It's no longer about me, boss.
True.
So whatever feelings you know, get out of your feelings, because your feelings have nothing to do with your motive.
For real.
And some of us athletes don't perform the way we're supposed to because it's only about us. We get the money we want, and we get the goal, and we haven't set any bigger goal, and us achieving the goal is only about us. We don't think about the bigger picture. Right? The people who perform at the highest level me work with, when I ask them why bigger than anything.
You know, I had a coach that he told me like I need to stop being selfish and think about other people. That's how you achieve anything. You cannot think about yourself. You cannot think about yourself, bro. You have to think about somebody else.
Nobody who is self-made made it by themselves. Nobody who is self-made made it by themselves. Somebody was there supporting them.
True. One on my shadow.
Right? And if you know send me a hustle to try take my game to the next level, you have to step in for support me. And they must say, oh, nobody never did it till me start make it. Okay, I get it, but now they're here.
Yeah.
Especially if they might add value.
Hold on, got you.
Because most of the time people want gonna just help you just because you have an idea.
Yeah.
For the people that will listen to believe in a church and Bible, right? There's nowhere in the Bible where Christ performed a miracle without requiring the people to do something.
True.
Go to River Jordan.
Yeah.
Go get fish.
Yeah.
Go do this.
Yeah.
Because it requires you having faith in the thing you're pursuing. And if you don't have true faith in and driven in the thing you have pursued, I got hard for you to get up and go. And if you don't believe enough in your dream, why am I gonna believe in it?
True.
Yo, if we get the money, what you do, whether you get the money or not.
True.
I tell you how I get my scholarship. 99 states of Bowman, as Mr. Mida teacher Wolmers, and it was just a 1 year stint. I say, all right, cool, and then the guy did a come back. So them have a junior Panam and them have a training camp.
Yeah.
I'm a set a friend and say, yo, I want to come work with the team. You know? I'm going to say, what you going to do, Nick? And I say, yo, if I just carry the water and the shot put. I was a shot coach. I was, yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So I say, me carry the shot put. Carry the shot put and equipment, come on, learn the craft. Because my goal was always to represent Jamaica. Right? Realize that athletically, I'm not fast.
That's a good
realization. Just be honest with yourself, right? Because PR are like 47, right? Yeah, right? Then the coaching. So that was my next step.
Yeah.
And then some friend I said, all right, cool. So I started volunteering when I reached the coach who was supposed to work with the children was not there because he come in later, a few weeks later, because he had some other responsibilities.
Yeah.
And then I said, yo, all right, Nick, I go work with the children. Them time that we have people like Byfield from KC. Yeah, what sure?
Yeah, man, used to.
So he was in high school at KC when I coach at Wilmers. And then Maurice Smith, who represented Jamaica in the Decathlon. Them did come in, so me come in and I try to help them and they're nervous. But me I work with them and I didn't know my thing, because at GC faster Michael Clark prepared me.
Yeah.
Michael Clark from we used to be at GC and then Calabar. And he was teaching at GC first and teach track and field theory.
Yeah.
And all of that. So I teach with the fundamentals and some no chose. I don't know if you know Carl Page, who he's a coach of George Jager, he's a coach Bridgeport now. But he was a big chose, and me and him used to study the shows and all of them things, and teach me a lot in the class and all that. So when we go out, it was easy.
Yeah.
So I work with the shows, and so friends have confidence in them. I said, go work with them. And when the time for go junior Panam, I said, friend, I want to come in. As a volunteer coach, and I say, yeah, come through. I say, we can sleep on a floor or whatever thing. And when I got there, this away, wanted more. I had my documents prepared, and every coach when me meet, when I dip on my downtime, I talk about what I do, and I just get my scholarship 99.
Yeah, man.
And all them have to do is talk to the other coaches, and they must say, yeah, man, I go to you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my scholarship.
So you think that was would you consider that synergy?
Yeah, of course.
Real talk.
Me that for sure.
Real talk.
You can't sit up on the couch and I pray to Father God and say, yo, give me an opportunity and never step out of that door.
But show your vibes. You know, say, when if you come to Jamaica, you want to come to this. And I never say the way, I know say, the girl may work with Tara Williams. Real talk with the, she present the opportunity where we can do some aid for your social media and something. So come make reach here. And even when we get the opportunity, I say, yo, I'm not do it. It's because I have to work and whatnot. And I say, no, if I go on to this, I have to take it. I mean, I tell you, if I'm come here, you have no idea, you can ask him. doors open. You can't even meet you.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And that would not have happened if we never take the opportunity, we never take the risk. Seriously.
Brother, trust me. And that's why I show up to the meets. I fund it.
Yeah.
Same. When we did a pledge fraternity, there's a poem we did have to read, learn. Right? If you can trust yourself when no one when no one should trust in you. May I try to remember the action, but there's a part in it where I talk about where you have to try, fail, and start again with worn out tools and never breathe a word that you lost.
Yeah.
Right? And when we go through the process and I learned the poems then, and that's over 20 years ago, right? But when we go through it, I think it was just a thing, but those poems have been instrumental in because there are gonna be opportunities. Because as I say, what me I do from 2015, and people just get a whisper my name and who me is and what me do, right? But if me did not do it because of the recognition, I wouldn't be here.
True.
Me have world records.
Yeah.
Sorry, not me.
No, me no.
Me have athletes I work with who achieve world records. We have 4 medals from the Olympics.
This year?
Last year. Last Olympics.
Yeah.
4 medals from the World Championship before.
And
nobody done it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all get there.
And if me did just do it for the recognition, would I give up?
Yeah.
Because some days it tough financially.
Yeah.
Out there, I push and I try get my name out there, and I see it. But because you have to believe in a way you do, I mean, I do it for the money. I do it because that's how I feel like I was created to. Like once we figure it out and get it, I quit my day job.
I appreciate it a lot. I really appreciate it.
Explain.
Because I feel like I said, like of late, well, since like I think last October, I stumbled across the word flow state because I don't know how I go through my career and learn about flow state.
Yeah.
I'm kind of realize, there are things that you're supposed to do in life. There are things that you're built for.
Yeah.
I'm not telling a lie. Me never necessarily want to become a professional athlete. It just kind of happen.
Yeah.
I know me kind of realize it happen. Let me get other people's stories out there. You know what I mean?
And you can relate to a story.
Yeah.
You understand me? And that's why I feel like what I do is I have a niche because I'm a former athlete, former coach, and now I'm a sports side, so I understand the components. And also a university professor. You understand me? So even when we do nightclub photography, when we do sometimes, you don't know, as Jamaican, you have a bunch of jobs, right? Even that's something I coach people to photography. Like, when I feel confident, like me smile and guide them through it and show them and build the confidence. So now every time we see them want to take pictures, right? Because they feel comfortable. Our job is to create synergy that people, our clients, athletes can feel relaxed. Because the more relaxed you are, the better you perform. The better you perform, and the better your results.
And even just like you said, like you're not doing it for the money, but with love comes money.
Yes.
With passion comes what you want. I just say it work. If you do anything for money, you might get it, yes, but just so you get it, you might.
And that's how I get the contract with Puma, because them kept seeing me showing up, and even when nothing go on, and the minute I have a client, I was not hesitant to provide support. Right? So they must say, would I love for you to work with some of our athletes? So I say, all right, cool. And it's not exclusive to Puma athletes, but we work with them. Allow me at the time to get some real it should be more present for the athletes.
That's nice.
And that make a world of a difference.
So a last thing I want to ask is, like, what's an advice you would give an up and coming or senior athlete that is probably considering or wants to consider psychologist?
It's very important. Understand that no matter what shape you're in, no matter where you're trying to go, if your mind, is not into it, it's going to be hard for you to achieve it. So it starts with the mind. It begins in the mind, right?
Like it always.
It always comes back to the mind game, right? So when you fully understand the mental side of it, the mental side of performance, you get more out of your physical self and be able to push yourself to the next level. One of the things Marie about, right, is when you understand purpose and move different. Right? And the coaches tend to know how to attach purpose to one another, not just competing. Right? Which make it tough for other teams. No matter how talented the other teams are, only we find some people rise to the occasion that are not as talented but have purpose. Because one of the things you know, hard work beat talent when talent don't work hard.
All the way.
I made it to where I am in life not because I was talented. But make it to where I'm there because of the work ethic and the mindset to know that anything is possible.
Anything.
Right? So when me introduce myself as for presentation, my name is Nicholas R. Powell, and the R stands for greatness.
Well, I'll explain that one then. What the R stands for greatness?
The R stands for whatever me want it to be. And the crazy thing is, it don't need to make sense to nobody else. Because if a man tell you, say, yo, say, brother, you can do the podcasting thing and you can retire from everything else. That make no sense to me. But then you do it.
I see it.
And you get on this track while I sit down and I stand and watch it. And you work with the world's top athletes. I make the impact. I rub shoulder with Michael Johnson. These are legends where we only sit on TV and you the rightness so I provide content and services to them. Right? But if you don't believe that, you're not gonna attempt it. You're gonna stay in your yard and I say, yo, so we should have the other me there. Wonder, yo, all them not talented like me. They don't need for talented life, yo. So our goal is not to achieve perfection. Our goal is to achieve excellence. I'm a poet, that is years of studying, right? So perfection is getting it always right. And we're not going to always get it right. If we put that pressure on ourselves, we're not going to start. True. The goal is to give my best every chance we get. And if we do it consistently enough, then I may achieve perfection when it matters.
I have one last thing I want to hear your output on it. Do you believe that if you speak negatively, then negative things happen? Like they speak bad, like they say, yo, why? You just got me as have a bad day. Every little thing where bad happen, you feel like say, if you verbalize it, it makes life harder for you.
Whatever we put on that universe, we believe. And whatever we believe, tend to manifest. Right? So situation, we don't have bad days. We have days. The thought process we put towards it, how we perceive it, determine if it's a bad day or not. Right? So you might say, oh, me have a bad day, me have an athlete tell me they had a bad workout. You say, I want to mature it. And when I'm done, I want to mature it. Okay, based on that, what you learn from that experience, like, yo, I learned this, I'm learn that, right? And then the next fight, because of things I learned, in the able to dominate. But if you never have that bad day, you won't be able to assess the training. And really develop that area, that gap that was in his training.
So you think failure is important?
Of course.
True.
Anybody who have never failed, have never challenged themselves to the
achieve.
And then I'm very rarely achieved. Right? If you only go after things that are sure, you're gonna miss out.
Yeah, great talk. So Paul, thank you. Man, I like it's amazing.
Yeah, respect.
I love your claims to one college.
Yeah, man, we don't say one college. No. You see, you said Jamaica. One Jamaica college. All right. But we still big up stats. All of them things there, because as I tell people, I wrap it up. As I tell people, I was invited to leave GSC 3 times. The last time, principal said, you can't come back. And that's some of the stats. But it was through that experience that allowed me to meet a coach who poured into me to go GC faster, who connected me to Wolmers, who said to coach more volunteer for go junior Padam, who connected me. So when things don't go the way, I never get the scholarship when I do, I would get the opportunity. I'm go, because we didn't forget a scholarship that never work out at GC, so I go to Wolmers. And while we're there at Wolmers, we connect. Brother, when life happens, we just look upon it and say, yo, when we can take from this, and use to fuel me. But if your why is not strong enough, when life happens, it's easy for you to throw away another ear. Yo, I don't someone come from now. There's my mother think about wish who are gonna go to school because we don't have lunch money. You know?
Who want to go to school?
Between me and my sister, you know, because who have a test today? Alright, she have a test, so she have to go to school today. You can stay home.
Man.
You understand me?
Yeah.
So everything what happened, I don't regret nothing in my life to this point. Today, April 4th, 5th. I don't regret nothing in my life to this specific moment. Everything what I got through prepare me for what's next.
True. I agree. I agree, man. So Paul, I really appreciate this. This attack, never something I expect, but I love it, man.
I love what you do, continue to do it. And continue to pour into other people. As what you learn, you pour into other people.
I saw me get my I don't know. I realize every step of the way, just like how you realize it, I saw me kind of start realizing, every step leads to something else. And along the way, there are people that believed in me, in something that I can do, that led me to here. You know what I mean? So I have to always try to get the good out of someone, because someone got the good out of me. Even when I never believe in myself, someone believed in me. You know what I mean? Someone see it, might not believe them, but I believe no one. They can see it in another person, like them have something, but them just afraid. You know what I mean? So try, man, try.
Yeah, my teacher 3-hour class, and we talk for days, so we're gonna make it wrap it up.
Man, thank you, sir.
Man, much respect.
Man, respect.